Welcome to another edition of Talk City Greensboro, produced by GTN, featuring interviews and events happening around town. It's an easy way to stay in the know while you're on the go. Subscribe to Talk City on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or SoundCloud so you can keep up with what's going on in Greensboro City government. I'm your host, Josh Johnson, and alongside me today is my backup co-host,
right,
who has been here before to cover for me, Carlos Castellanos. Thank you, sir, for being here.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
All right. What's up, Greensboro? Thank you for joining us again. Today we're talking festival folks, more specifically NC Folk Festival. We're honored to have Amy Grossman here, President and CEO of the NC Folk Festival, at the round table with us to talk about the unique 2020 NC Folk Festival that we're all excited about. Welcome, Amy.
Great.
Hey,
thank
Amy.
you so much for
Thanks
having
for
me. Yeah, thank you.
Take us from the National Folk Festival to the idea to have a festival like this in Greensboro annually for the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, so for folks who haven't heard the spiel before, the National Folk Festival has been happening in the United States since 1934, and it's been to several cities. It really is a traveling festival, and the organization that produces it is based up in the Washington, D.C. area, and they put out an RFP to communities that might want to host it, and some wonderful folks at the city of Greensboro got a hold of that RFP, got in touch with Action Greensboro and with Arts Greensboro, and together they put together a proposal that ended up being the winning bid to host the National Folk Festival here in Greensboro. What really attracted the National Folks to Greensboro was the potential for a festival to carry on, for there to be a legacy event that would follow that 3-year residency. So that was really important in their criteria for evaluating communities where this could be. So it was baked into the process and the organization from the beginning that after that 3-year residency of the National from 2015 to 17, that the event would continue on in Greensboro and transition to its own entity. And that's exactly what's happened. So starting in 2018, we successfully transitioned to be the North Carolina Folk Festival. And within the past year, the Folk Festival has officially moved on from being underneath Arts Greensboro. So Arts Greensboro is kind of like the parent nonprofit organization.
Right.
And again, baked in from the beginning, the idea was the Folk Festival would become its own entity, and that's exactly where we are today.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, talking about transitions, this year's different.
For a lot of us in many ways.
Yeah. So give us an idea of what's going to be, how you guys are going to pull this off this year. I'm winging it because I've got the same question on my script.
Going to 3.
Well, I think, we do want to talk a little bit about how this year's festival is different. So how are we doing this virtually?
So, I'll give just a little bit of background of how we got to this point. Like a lot of other people, when, it was looking like the pandemic was going to have a major effect on not only the events industry, but just on the way that we're living our lives. We kind of held, we're in a holding pattern, waiting to see how things would shake out. Would it be possible to produce the festival as we had anticipated, as we've been doing the past 5 years, or would we need to transition in some way? And we determined within 4 or 6 weeks, we're going to have to do something different. We don't know what different's going to be yet, but we know we're going to have a modified version of what we were going to do. A lot of people asked me, well, did you ever consider canceling? And that really was not a consideration. We knew that, just given the way our organization is structured, we could pivot, we could be nimble and flexible. And so we committed in late April that we were going to do something. We didn't know what it was going to be. We were going to do something. And in the midst of that, also started talking to the folks at the Piedmont Blues Preservation Society, who have been doing the Carolina Blues Festival for the past 34 years. This will be their 34th anniversary. And it was looking more and more like their May event would not be able to take place.
Right.
And because our organizations and our festivals have, some symmetry and alignment in our artistic aesthetic, got talking to them and said, hey, why don't we kind of join forces here? And if you guys are willing, let's make you part of our platform, and you can just kind of be absorbed into what we're doing in September. And they were on board 100%. So we're really excited about that very unique partnership to be able to do that. So finally, so that partnership was in place. And then, it was looking more and more like with the limitations on the number of people who could gather at one time, that we would just not be able to do an in-person event that would ensure the safety of the performers, the crew, the audience members. And so it was in early July, after we had tossed around a lot of ideas of how we could go virtual, could we do hybrid, what could we do? We finally committed in early July and just said, we've got to go all virtual. There's just still too much uncertainty to plan for something in person in September. So that's when we partnered with Seven Cinematics, the video production and streaming company that is headquartered here in Greensboro. And we have a really unique approach with them about really trying to retain the essence and the aesthetic of a live performance and film that at locations around Greensboro. So not only do we have these incredible performers from North Carolina, that was one other change that we made this year, was to really focus on North Carolina artists. Right. We wanted to support North Carolina. We wanted to support Greensboro. And so really making that the essence of what our programming is this year. That's what people are going to see.
Cool. That's very cool.
Well, let's talk about the lineup and locations. Who are some of the artists and significant places they will be performing in, and what this experience has been like for the artists?
Yeah, so the first one I'll mention is actually, it comes out of that partnership with the Piedmont Blues Preservation Society, working with their president, Atiba Berkeley. The component of our program that is going to be part of this year's 34th Carolina Blues Festival, a performance by Veronica Jackson. She's a blues musician from outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And that whole segment was filmed out at the Underground Railroad Tree out at Guilford College. And it was a really poignant, special filming out there in the woods. First, lugging all the video equipment out there, but, it was just a really special performance. And the whole performance is built around kind of a tribute to Elizabeth Cotton, who is the famed Grammy Award-winning blues musician from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So it was really special for a lot of people. Another, I'll mention one other one that we just recently wrapped up. We did Mandolin Orange, which is a very well-known Americana group from Chapel Hill, and we filmed them just this past week out at the Grasshopper Stadium. And it was what was first of all, it was just an absolutely surreal, wonderful experience. It was sad, being in an empty ballpark, but it was also very poignant. And I will share that at the very end, I don't know if this will make it into the final video, but at the very end, Emily, who is the one of the singers, one of the members of the duo, she teared up at the very end of their set. And in talking to her afterwards, I learned that there were 3 firsts for them that night. Number one, it was their first time performing in Greensboro as a duo. Very first time. The second first thing, it was their first time performing in a ballpark. They had never done that before. And then finally, it was also, she said, their first time performing a full set since March.
Wow.
And that is what I've heard from a lot of performers across the board, some of whom participated in our program this year. They might have done a little stream song here, a stream song there, but to actually do a full performance set with the gear, thinking about which song follows which, this was a first time for them since March to do that. It was incredibly poignant, and there were definitely some tears of joy shed among the artists and the crew. The crew also has not worked since March.
No kidding.
So it was really a special experience at all of these locations.
That's that's great. I've been curious to know. I've seen a lot of people zooming and doing small videos and stuff like that. But what is it like for the artists to be performing without an audience, to be performing just on stage? That's got to be, because there's so much interaction between the crowd and the artist, and it kind of creates this new thing between them, and part of that's lost.
They feed off each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Exactly. No, that's an integral part of what an artist's experience is on stage, and to not have that is, there's something missing. But at the same time, we're very optimistic that when people see what we've put together, they're really going to appreciate it. Hopefully, they'll feel like they're right there in the front row, getting a really incredible look and hear of these incredible artists. So it's pretty special, and I'm looking forward to seeing the final product myself.
Yeah, me too. So where is this going to be streaming at?
So we're going to be streaming on several platforms. First of all, the Folk Festival on the Folk Festival's YouTube channel, also via Facebook Live. We're going to be doing that. The City of Greensboro is also going to host it on their online platforms, YouTube and social media. And then, of course, GTN is going to broadcast it as well that weekend. That's right. Thank you all very much.
Right here on GTN.
That's right. And finally, and this is through our partnership with Seven Cinematics. We're working with an online streaming platform called nugs.net. That's N like Nancy, UGS.net.
Okay.
And that has a worldwide following. People log on, register to be part of that. And you can see performances on that platform right now, everything from Dave Matthews Band to Red Hot Chili Peppers, all kinds of stuff.
That's cool.
There's, a lot of the content, I will say, is pay-per-view, but ours will be provided free of charge, just like we would, make admission free for the festival.
Right.
So that's another thing. Through all of these platforms, people can watch it for free.
That's cool.
That's great.
That is so cool. So, where can people find more information about the event and the NC Folk Festival organization itself?
The best thing to do is to go to our website at ncfolkfestival.com. You can do that before we're airing everything, during. It'll also give you good directions on how to access those different streaming points to be able to watch it. So you don't have to remember to go look for us on YouTube or the cities. Just go to our website and we'll make sure we link you there.
Wonderful. And the dates again?
So it's going to be premiering September 11, 12, and 13 at 6 p.m. each of those nights. And I will also mention that following our Saturday program, the Carolina Blues Festival is going to be doing their own live stream of a performance by Vanessa Ferguson over at the Van Dyke Center. So that will just append the program Saturday night. And then one final thing, about these online platforms, it's going to premiere the weekend of the festival, and it's going to stay online for on-demand viewing thereafter.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. I thoroughly enjoy the festival every year, so it's going to be kind of a shift, but I'm really, really thankful that you guys pivoted.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
So very good to see us. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned in weekly by subscribing to Talk City Greensboro on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And don't forget, you can download Talk City from SoundCloud.
That's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in to Talk City. Be sure to watch GTN, your official source for news and information about the city of Greensboro. GTN is also available on Spectrum, Channel 13, AT&T UVerse Channel 99, and North State Channel 31. GTN also streams live on Roku and the city's website at greensboro-nc.gov. Thanks, everybody.